Have you ever considered having a business of your own? Having your own business is a dream held by many people who wish to set their own schedules, do what they love, and utilize their skills and experience to make a living. Hello, I'm your host, Ruben Ramos. On today's special called Tips on Starting a New Business, founder and principal of the executive coaching group, Trisha Scudder, will join me as we discuss the tips on launching a new business. Welcome to the show, Trisha.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you for having me on your show. And I'm excited about sharing my business knowledge with all the viewers, especially those people who want to start a new business.
A lot of people out there who contemplate in opening up their own business, they're very concerned about risk, finance. And if anyone is considering in opening up a business, should they enter or launch their own business on their own, or should they get a partner?
Well, I launched Executive Coaching Group originally with a partner. Well, it was funny. I had a partner in Los Angeles, and yet I started the business in New York. He started his in Los Angeles, but because we knew we weren't alone, we had somebody we could email every day who cared about how we were doing. It just gave us that extra confidence. And then about 2 years later, I said, wait a minute, I built this business by myself in New York. And I realized that in a way I tricked myself into starting the business. If you can find someone who has the same goals you have, the same values, is aligned with you on what his role is or her role, your role, what the financial arrangement is, and what the vision or purpose of this business is, if you can get that alignment and that clarity about the roles and the financial arrangement, then you have a good basis for a partnership. I have a partner now. She's fantastic. I've known her for 25 years. She's been my partner now for 4 years. And for 7 years, I was trying to get her to be my partner. She's so great. And it is a world of difference compared to about 15 years when I was working on this and owning it myself. Having a great partner is a terrific asset. I do recommend it. I think it would have cut off probably 8 years in the wilderness for me in starting the business.
I see. And is it important for entrepreneurs to know what they want to accomplish in 5 years?
I think it's very helpful to know what's the end game. A lot of people start a business, and there's nothing wrong with this. The purpose of the business is to give them a well-paying job. And most businesses hire and employ one person, the owner. Some people have a bigger vision than that. They want to have a business with employees. Some, want to actually start an international firm. Others have a goal of 10, 15 years or so. They want to sell the business, maybe even sooner if it's a technology firm. So knowing that up front makes a huge difference to what you do today. So if you know from the get-go that you plan to sell that business, you're going to have much more rigor in the financial recording, controls, reporting than you do if it's just your own business and the only thing that you're interested in really is giving yourself a job. For example, this is actual example. I've heard of some people who, a company who was interested in buying an ad agency until they realized that all the profits had gone into the owner's classic car collection. So, he was not planning all those years. He really didn't plan to sell the business. The assets went into his classic cars. Instead of investing in a management team, marketing, technology, whatever you would invest in to have a saleable business.
Can you tell us what type of long-term strategy business developers should own?
A couple ways of looking at that. That's such a big topic, I'm going to give you two suggestions. One is to create a very simple business plan at the beginning. People hear the word business plan and they want to run out of the room because it sounds just so daunting, but there are very simple ones. It could be 3 pages, 4 pages. In fact, I think there's even a company that does 1-page business plans. So it doesn't have to be so daunting. And in doing a business plan, it causes you to face reality ahead of time, not in real time. So if there's no way that your operating expenses for that fancy office can ever be paid for by the amount of clients you have, you can see that on paper. You don't have to live that nightmare. So yes, the business plan, very smart, doesn't have to be real detailed, but at least so you're thinking and anticipating ahead of time and you can see breakdowns before they actually happen.
And in terms of cash flow, how do business owners monitor their operating costs and the revenue model?
Again, big topic. I'll give you just 2 pointers. One is, as soon as you can, have a very good bookkeeper, part-time, who comes in and handles all your payroll, taxes. It is so costly. I know for years I was doing the taxes myself because I was too cheap to hire, the bookkeeper to do it. But then there would be penalties because I would do it wrong, because that's not my expertise. So pay a bookkeeper to come in every week or every 2 weeks, handle all your invoices and your billing and your P&L and your payroll, and your life will be so much easier, and your taxes and so much easier. Even with a good bookkeeper, even with a good accountant, there are 2 reports that I think any business owner needs to generate for themselves and keep an eye on. And one of them is a revenue projection based on your invoices. So we keep every month, we have every month plotted out for the next 12 months. Based on our invoices, we know what's going to come in October, November, December, January, all the way out. And that allows us to plan, reduce the number of surprises, and manage the accounts receivable and the cash flow much, much, much better, because we have that long view, and it's all based in reality, based on invoices and when they're due. The second document that's really important is your sales pipeline. How many prospects do you have? How many proposals do you have out working? How many new verbal agreements with new customers or clients do you have, so that you know what you and anyone else in your company is putting into that sales pipeline every week. That's got to be monitored. Otherwise, it's the easiest thing to fall asleep, and a month later, suddenly, that revenue report shows, billings are down, and it's all because you didn't pay attention to the pipeline.
So are you saying that a lot of business owners are not monitoring their cash flow carefully when it comes to making their business a success?
They get busy, or they delegate it to someone else, or they went into the business because they love doing the thing that's the heart of the business. They don't like sales, or they don't like finance, so they tend to go to sleep about those things.
Yes, yes, absolutely. In terms of hiring employees in the HR side, what type of people should business owners hire?
I have a simple way of judging that too. Think of competence and think of character. Competence meaning the skills. If you are looking for a bookkeeper, you obviously need someone who's skilled and experienced in bookkeeping, who has references. You must check references. I made many mistakes by thinking someone was great and not checking their references, and also not checking that their references were legitimate and not their friends with a fake number. Competence, the skills, the knowledge, the experience. And then the other thing is character. And many times we forget, we get thrilled that someone has the skills, but do they have the character? Are they going to show up on time? Are they courteous to your customers? Are they pleasant to work with?
Yes, and chemistry is very important when hiring the right people for the right jobs. Because a lot of the times when business owners launch their own business, they tend to hire friends and relatives to take over those roles.
That's true.
And then, of course, sometimes they do take advantage of that business or close relationship. And when that happens, then things tend to fall through the cracks, and then the business does suffer. Do you believe that that does happen in many small businesses?
Yes, and see, I see not so much that the employee or the family member takes advantage, it's the owner not setting it up. The owner who's afraid to ask the family member to come in on time. Or to hold them to account. They said they were going to make 4 new business appointments this week, and they only made 1. And then he or she doesn't hold them to account. That's the real breakdown that I see, is they don't establish it right from the beginning, that this truly is a business relationship. It's very tricky when there are family members, for the reasons you said and the reasons I said.
Well, Trisha, that's all the time we have for now. I thank you very much for coming in and talking about this topic. I'm sure that the viewers out there will find this information very useful. And again, thank you very much for being with us, and I hope to bring you back to the show very soon.